Hi, my name is Miranda. We're going to do some exercises to help protect the knees. So we're going to work all the muscles around the knees, the thighs, front and back, lower legs, ankles, hips. Muscles that can have a really big effect on our knees if they are tight or if there's an imbalance in them. What would be really helpful is if you have a belt with you. It doesn't have to be a yoga mat belt. It could be a dog lead or dressing gown lead. A block or a book, big fat book if you haven't got a block. So something roughly that sort of size. And a rolled up mat or a rolled up blanket. So something that's going to be softer for a bit of padding. We're going to start off on our backs. So first of all, lie on your back and bring your knees in towards your chest. And take a moment just to breathe deeply. Long deep breaths through the nose. So just being aware of the breath. Slowing the breath down. And then circle your knees. Bring your knees in towards you. Separate them. Take them away from you and back together again. So 2 circles with the knees. Just letting those circles be as big as feels good for you. So the circle might be small. The circles might be big. So just observing. We do very minimal movement with our hips. When we're walking, even if we're running, it's just a forwards and back movement. Sitting, they get very short and tight. So just really feeling this movement, freeing up your hips. The pelvic floor is getting a workout here too. The pelvic floor can actually have an effect on the knees. It seems very strange for such a small group of muscles. And then take the circles in the other direction. So again, just observing how that feels for you. And you'll feel your tummy muscles engaging here too. Just observing. So when our hips are tight, the knees try to do more movement that they shouldn't really be doing. So it's really important to keep our hips flexible and strong. So then bring your feet down off the floor. And take them about as wide as the mat, if you have a mat, but otherwise wider than hip distance apart. If you're happy to have your hands behind your head, take your hands behind your head, otherwise they can be by your sides. Take a deep breath in, and exhale, take your knees over to the left, and reach away and down with your right knee. Inhale, come back up to center, and exhale, take your knees over to the right, and reach away and down with your left knee. Inhaling back to center and keep going. So this movement again is only as far as feels good for you. You may not be able to move the knees quite so far over. It's just about what feels good in your body. So again, just bringing more movement to the hips. So it takes pressure off the knees. So just the internal, external rotation of the hips. A movement that we can lose very easily if we don't move our hips in more of a free, varied way. So just listening to how that feels. And then coming back to center and bring your feet together. And then open your knees out, separate them, take them wide, and just allow the knees just to let go. If you feel uncomfortable here, you may need something underneath your thighs to support them. But if you're happy with the knees wide, just letting go, stay here. So we're stretching the inner thighs here. And it can be nice just to give the thighs a rub, anywhere that you feel a bit of a stretch, just encouraging those muscles to let go, rubbing them. A little bit of weight on the thighs to encourage that release. The front of the hips are getting a bit of a stretch here too, and the pelvic floor. Just observing. Notice too if one thigh is higher than the other, if you have an imbalance here. because that is going to have an effect on your knees as well. Then we're going to use a bit of effort to release the muscles more. So inhale, push the soles of your feet together. Exhale, relax. Inhale, push the soles of your feet together. Exhale, relax. And again, push together. And relax. And stay letting go. Using the breath. So when we breathe deeply, our muscles let go. If we breathe in a shallow way, we tense up, ready for action. And when we get stressed, our muscles can stay very tense and tight. And that can cause so much damage in our bodies. So again, just breathing deeply, letting these muscles release. And then bring your knees together. Bring them into your chest and hug and rock them side to side. Then straighten your left leg along the floor. Push away with your left foot. Press down with your left thighs. Feel the spaciousness you're creating in your left hip socket as you draw your right knee in towards you. And then circle your right foot. Don't rush that circle. If you rush it, you'll find you'll whiz past all the tight spots. So just moving slowly. And again, observe. If our ankles are very tight, very weak, that is going to have a big effect on our knees as well. So just observing, such a simple thing to do, but such a powerful thing to do. Take the circle in the other direction. It is really worth remembering that the health of our feet and our ankles has an effect all the way up our bodies. Then catch hold behind your thigh. Keep your thigh close in towards your chest, and when you're ready to, inhale, take your foot up towards the ceiling, but your thigh stays close. Exhale, bring the foot back down. Inhale, take the foot up. It's just to where you feel a stretch in the back of your thigh. Exhale, take the foot back down. Inhaling again, take the foot up. This time keep it there. The leg is still drawing into your chest. And reach away with your right heel. And point your foot. Reach away with the heel. And point the foot. Reach away with your heel. And point. And then we're going to find the belt. You take the belt around your foot, dressing gown lead, whatever it is you have, over your foot. And we're going to come for a straighter leg this time. So straighten the leg as much as works for you, where you still get a stretch in the back of your thigh. It's not behind your knee. Soften it if you're getting behind the knee. Drawing your leg in towards you. You may find your leg is here. You may find it's closer. But check too that your knee is pointing towards your armpit, roughly towards your armpit. So it's pointing directly forwards of your hip socket. A way to check that is to make sure that you can just see the inside of your heel. It's not being hidden by the lump in your ankle. So just making sure. So your knee is pointing directly forwards. And breathe. Now if your knee has a tendency to turn in, it suggests you have tightness in the inner hamstring and a weakness in the inner quad at the front. So it's a really great place to address that. Because otherwise it means everything you do in your life is going to be aggravating that knee, wearing away at cartilage, putting strain on ligaments. So again, just keep checking the knee doesn't turn in. Use your breath. Long, deep breaths. Long exhales. Particularly the exhale is where we let go. So really use that exhale. The inhale, body engages, energizes a little. The exhale is where we let go. And let go. Put the belt down for a moment. Bring your left knee in. Catch hold around your left shin and straighten your right leg. Push away with your right foot. Press down with your thigh. So again, feel that spaciousness you're creating in your right hip socket. Snuggling the left knee in. And again, circle your left foot. So observing how that feels. So again, don't rush that circle. and take the circle in the other direction. Then catch hold behind your thigh. Again, keep your thigh close in towards your chest. Inhale, take the foot up to where you feel a stretch in the back of the leg. Exhale, bring the foot back down. Inhale, take your foot up. Exhale, take the foot back down. Inhaling, take the foot up. Keep it there this time. And then reach your way with your heel. And point. Reach your way with the heel. And point. Reach your way with the heel. And point. And then again, find the belt. Take it over the foot. And again, just come to where you feel a stretch in the back of the thigh, not behind the knee. So soften it if you're getting it behind the knee. But again, check that your knee is pointing directly forwards. So roughly towards your armpit. But again, you want to be able to see the inside of your heel. That is not hidden by the knobbly bit in your ankle. So again, keep pushing away with your right foot. Drawing your left leg in, feeling that stretch in the back of the thigh. Long, deep breaths. And keep checking that your knee is not turning in. It might want to, if you have that imbalance in your legs, it will want to keep turning in. So check it. Keep checking it. So really using this hamstring stretch to address that imbalance. And let go. And bring both your knees in towards your chest and hug and rock from side to side. And then we're going to grab the block. So if you take it between your thighs, and if you have your feet about as wide as that block is, so taking it on the narrow side, and take the feet about as wide as the block or your book is, arms by your sides, shoulders away from your ears. We're going to start off with some pelvic tilts and then come into a bridge. So inhale, exhale, tip your pelvis back and squeeze your pelvic floor. Inhale, tip your pelvis forwards. Exhale, tip your pelvis back so your lower back is pressing into the floor and squeeze your pelvic floor. Inhale, tip your pelvis forwards. And this really helps to make sure that our pelvis is in a neutral position. We don't tend to tip forwards or back whatever we're doing standing. So just dressing the pelvis. The next time you exhale, tip your pelvis back and come up into bridge. Peel your spine up off the floor to come up onto your shoulders. And just come to where it feels good for you, where you feel happy to be. Press down with the back of your shoulders, lift your hips, and squeeze the block. It's very easy when we're in bridge, if we have an imbalance in our bodies, to let the knees go wide or let them to collapse inwards. So the block can really make sure they are working. Your thighs, your legs are working evenly. Don't let the feet roll out or collapse inwards. Think about reaching away with your knees, so your knees reaching away towards the wall beyond you. Lift your bottom up a little higher. Breathe. And come down. Take the block away. Hug your knees and rock from side to side. And then we're going to come up to sitting. And this is where we want something to go underneath our legs. So take something that's soft underneath your knees. You can come up a little higher if you want a block underneath. But make sure you are up on your sitting bones, and so your legs are a little bit bent. And we're going to address the imbalance that's often in our thighs. We're going to strengthen the inner quad muscle. So if you turn your right foot out a bit, so you've put that inner quad muscle up on the top, and then straighten your leg and bend. Straighten your leg and bend. And if you put your fingers just on that muscle, you will probably feel it engaging. So it works hardest at that almost bent, so almost straight to bent movement. So we've put it on top to make it work harder, and we've turned that foot out. Just so then turn the foot pointing up, and again straighten, and bend. So having woken it up, it should be doing its job, working evenly here with the other muscles. So again, if you know that that is something that's the case for you, that you have a weakness there, your knees have a tendency to turn in, this will be really helpful for you. And then the other sides, turn your left foot out. So again, you're putting that muscle on the top, and straighten, and bend, and straighten, and bend. Just observing, feeling that muscle waking up. So if you are somebody who finds their knee collapses inwards when you're doing your lunges, warriors, this will be really helpful for you as well. Then take your foot pointing up, and again straighten, and bend, and straighten. Keep going. And if you have a flat foot, a collapsed arch, again, this muscle will be weaker for you because when your arch of your foot collapses, this knee is not working properly. And then take that away. So shake your legs out. So hence that connection between our feet and our knees is such a big one. We're then going to come up onto our knees. So coming up to a high kneeling position. So knees just comfortable hip distance apart. Front of the feet on the floor. Inhale. Exhale, lean back. Staying in a straight line from your knees to the top of your head. Inhale, come to neutral. Exhale, lean back. Inhale, neutral. Exhaling, lean back. You'll feel the muscles in the front of the thighs working. You'll feel your tummy muscles working and your bottom muscles, your glutes working too. Just observing. Observe if you feel your body wants to tip off to one side as well. If you're stronger on one side than you are on the other. Just making sure that you don't. Again, listening to your body, just going as far back as your body feels happy to. The further you go back, the stronger it is. And then come to kneeling. And kneeling is something that if you don't do, it's very easy to become something that you can't do. The muscles get really short and tight. So you may be feeling, even with kneeling, that you're very tight around the front of the thighs and the knees. If you are, you may feel it's better to have something behind your knees to release that. So find something that makes it accessible for you. If you feel it very uncomfortable in the ankles, if you've got tight ankles, put something underneath your ankles. So again, something soft. Ready to do pelvic tilts here. So inhale, exhale, tip your pelvis back. Inhale, tip your pelvis forward, so there's a little arch in your lower back. Exhale, tip your pelvis back. You may feel on a tipping pelvis back bit that you feel that stretch in the front of the thighs. Inhale, forwards. Exhale, tip back. Observe that stretch. Inhale, forwards. Exhale, tip your pelvis back. And this might be where you stay. If you're very tight in the front of the thighs, just stay. Maybe it's just kneeling without even the pelvic tilts. You may feel you're happy to take your hands behind you, but you may be better off finding something as a bit of support. Something could take your hands up a little bit higher. If you don't need that, then don't. But again, find the place where you feel happy to be. Don't let your knees go wide. Keep your knees parallel. We're going to do pelvic tilts again here. Inhale. Exhale, tip your pelvis back. Inhale, tip your pelvis forwards. Exhale, tip your pelvis back. Again, listen to that stretch in the front of your thighs. Inhale, pelvis tips forwards. Exhale, tip your pelvis back. If you're happy to lift your bottom up off your heels, then do. Otherwise, just stay with those pelvic tilts. Lift up, spread your fingers, outward wave with the hands, lift your breastbone. Don't hang your head back. Either have your head in a straight line with the rest of your spine, or tuck your chin in. Squeeze your buttocks. See if you can come up a little higher. Just observe that stretch in the front of your thighs. So wherever you are, whether you're kneeling, whether you're doing the pelvic tilts, just it's about the stretch. And come back down. Hands on the floor. Nice long back. Spread your fingers. Outward wave of the hands. Tuck your toes under. And come into downward dog. And pedal your legs. So downward dog is like an upside down V, and it's just such a lovely stretch for the legs. So bend one leg, straighten the other. So just really feel how it's getting the feet a lovely workout and stretch. The back of the legs a lovely workout and stretch. And then bend both legs. And think about taking your tail away and up. Long spine. Look at your knees. Make sure your knees are pointing directly forward. They're not turning in or turning out. And then straighten your legs as much as they straighten. Where your tail is still reaching away and up, it's not curling under. So long back. Spread your fingers. Take your shoulders away from your ears. Shake your head around. Release the neck. Keep checking again that your knees haven't rolled in or turned out. They're pointing directly forwards. Breathe. And come to your knees. And come up again to kneeling. And step your right foot forwards. Hands on your hips. And tip your pelvis back. Then lunge forwards. Coming to a place where we're feeling a stretch in the front of the left hip. And bring your arms up. Shoulders down and lift your breastbone. Again, breathe deeply. If we breathe in a shallow way, this muscle, particularly in the front of the hip, has a tendency to tense up. So use the breath. Long, deep breaths. And one of the muscles that comes down, that crosses the front of the hip, actually goes right the way down over the knee. So that's, again, a really big effect on the knee when it's short and tight. When there's imbalance. And these muscles in the front of the hip, they can get short and tight from lots of sitting or from anxiety, stress too. Then we're going to come out of it. Step that foot back, the knee back. And step your left foot forwards. Again, hands on your hips. Tip your pelvis back. Lunge forwards. And then bring your arms up. Lift your breastbone, shoulders down. And again, breathe deeply. Listen to your body. Listen to that stretch in the front of the right hip. And come out of it. Taking the knee back, hands on the floor, shoulders away from your ears, and straighten your right leg. Reach away with your right heel and draw your belly up towards your spine. We're going to strengthen the back of the leg, the hamstrings now. So inhale, exhale, flatten your belly and raise the leg. Inhale, take your foot down. Exhale, flatten the belly, raise the leg. But don't let the foot turn out. Make sure the toes are pointing down towards the floor. Keep going. So belly flattening, you're not dropping your lower back to lift the leg. So you're exhaling to lift the leg up, making sure your foot points down. Listen to those muscles in the back of your leg working. And bring the knee to the floor. And straighten your left leg. Again, reach away with the heel. Draw your belly up towards your spine. Exhale, flatten your belly, raise the leg. Inhale, foot down. Exhale, straighten. Inhale, foot down. Keep going. So again, making sure the foot is pointing down towards the floor. You're not turning it out. And the last time. Knees to the floor. Tuck your toes under. And come into downward dog just to even out. Pedal your legs. Then come to your knees. And we're going to finish off with a hip stretch. So come onto your back. Bring your knees in towards your chest. And then take your right thigh over the top of your left thigh. And stretching the hips, we want to be very careful of our knees, because if our hips are tight, our knees will suffer. But when we're stretching our hips, we need to be particularly careful just to make sure that we're not damaging our knees while we're stretching our hips. So here, push away with your heels. Draw your knees in towards you and catch hold of where works for you. So it might be your knees, it might be your shins, it might be the calf, might be the ankles, but you don't want to be twisting the knees. So just make sure your knees are happy here. You're stretching, you should be getting a stretch in the right buttock, deep in your right buttock. So the more you bring your knees in towards your chest, and the more you push your bottom away and down, the more you will feel that stretch. Make sure you're not throwing your head back. Keep your chin tucked in. And breathe. Long, deep breaths, drawing those knees in, pushing your bottom away and down. And release. And change legs. So left thigh over the top of your right thigh. Again, flex your feet. Draw your knees in towards you and catch hold of where it works for you. So again, it doesn't have to be the ankles, it's where it works for you, where you're not twisting the knees. So drawing your knees in towards you, push your bottom away and down. There's actually a seated version of this, which I'm very wary of, because unless you have very open hips, you are going to be twisting the knees to be able to sit with your legs either side of you. It's very easy for people to think when they're doing yoga that they need to be doing certain poses. Lotus, for example, is a terrible position for most people's hips. Most people do not have open enough hips to sit in lotus safely, and you will be damaging your knees by even trying. So unless you have very open hips, do be careful with poses like that. So again, here you're stretching this muscle here deep in the buttock. And if you do have very tight hips, I would suggest I have a video for tight hips that will really help to address that. If you find that sitting cross-legged isn't very comfortable for you, it'll be a good one for you. If you just feel that your hips are genuinely tight. Just remember that if your hips are tight, your knees will suffer. Also your back can be a big cause of back pain when hips are very tight. Release. Unhook the legs, knees in towards your chest, and rock from side to side. And then coming up to sitting. I hope you found that helpful. Please do subscribe if you find my videos helpful. Thank you.